All right, guys. Good evening, and thanks for tuning in. Travel and Life Show. I always appreciate all of you joining in. So today is really a special day because I have some super awesome guests who are really to tell the story. Uh, they're popular. They've been featured on news stations. Uh, they've been busy giving interviews, so I managed to get them. I've been talking about them all week. I'll come back to it, but let's get the introduction stuff done. So usually I love to kick it off by talking about some travel news and whatnot, but this time because I have these famous guests on the show on the other line waiting. I'll just quickly go through some shout outs. As you guys always know, there are quite a few channels that I support, and they support me in return. And if you guys go to my main page and scroll down, you will see all the channels. So you please go check them out. They all release video on a consistent manner, and these most of these guys are on multiple platforms. You guys know the drill. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Well, I don't talk much about TikTok, but I'll tell you guys something about my guests in a bit. They're kind of superstars on TikTok already. So we'll talk more later on. So it's important that you guys support them, go follow them, watch their videos, and that's how you help one another. So this week on Friday, I have Heart Family coming in. I'm going to show you guys an intro that I made for them. Most of you know the Heart Family already. If not, they're also featured on my one of the channels that I support. So please go check them out. So without any further ado, let me show you guys the Heart Family, which is
My name is Travis Cosentino, and I live in my van. I've been doing van life for about a year now, and I love it. This channel is going to be about vlogging. It's going to be about my life, traveling on the road as a filmmaker and photographer. Van life is connection. I got into this life because I wanted to meet people. I would not be where I am today if it weren't for the people that I met on the road. These people have come through for me in ways that I could have never imagined, and I am eternally grateful for it. That to me is my bread and butter. That's what I get the most out of it, is just kind
well,
of...
the things before I forget. Don't forget to like this live stream, and whatever you do, if you want to share it on other social media platforms, you are more than welcome to do it. And if I have anybody here live that are not part of my YouTube page, please consider subscribing. And I have the links to all my social media channels. You guys know I have a hard time maintaining multiple social media platforms, even though this week I've been kind of putting efforts on Instagram and so on. So make sure you guys go follow, and I will make sure to follow you back. That's how it works. So um, I'm just gonna get to a couple of families that are already here watching. So Alma Network USA, you're on. Thank you. And I got Bobby Wheeler. Thank you, sir, for joining in. I saw your feed earlier when you went live. You're doing great things. I said it before, for your age, you are on the right path, because I was nowhere close to what you're doing right now. And I got the Puddles and Passports family, another family that traveled extensively. We've been kind of going back and forth for the last couple of weeks, try to get a time secured. I actually want these family on the show because they have two young kids. So me and my wife, we travel with the two young kids, and that's the first family that I met where they're kind of like us. So I'm hoping that my wife will join me to participate or join the interview, the Puddles family. So that's up to come. If you guys have any questions while you're watching this, please feel free to type it in. Again, so my guests, just to let you guys know, it's Teresa and Josiah. These guys were featured on CNN. Imagine, you know, both of you, so two random people, they both plan their own trips with, you know, their partners or friends, whatever, and then at the last minute, they all back out of it because of COVID-19. And one of them decides to go on a Facebook group, post the itinerary, and ask the question whether someone wants to join. And Teresa looked at it. They both started talking, and believe it or not, a couple of days later, they met at the airport and they were ready to go on a flight. So two total strangers. And again, you know, when they come on the show, I'll ask them a bunch of questions about it. But imagine that. Okay, so they'll be joining us very shortly. You guys have their platforms underneath as usual, their Instagram, their Facebook, and their TikTok. So TikTok, I just want to touch base because these guys have a massive following on TikTok. So for those on the show who loves TikTok, go check them out. I saw some of the videos that Teresa did with, you know, on TikTok. It looks pretty cool. So without any further ado, I'm gonna bring those two in right now. So just bear with me 1 second so I can do this properly. Main intro, go away, and NDI source is back. And all right, I can already see Josiah on the screen. Therese, you want to say
Hello.
something so that they can see you?
Here I am.
Awesome. Thank you. And by the way, guys, I said it at the beginning of the show. We'll talk more in details very shortly, but you two are, I look up to both of you. Okay. The minute I read the story on CNN, I could not believe it. I have not heard this before. So I absolutely had to reach out to you guys, and us too. We've been going back and forth for the past couple of weeks. So I tend to talk a lot, so I'm going to stop now. I'm going to ask Josiah if you want to do a quick introduction, and then we'll get Teresa to do the same, and then we'll get on to the famous interview questions. I don't know about you guys,
Okay.
but I'm sweating, so let's get this.
Okay, well, I'm Josiah. I live in Des Moines, Iowa, and I've been an avid traveler for probably the past, I'd say like 15, 20 years. I've been traveling, but really, really heavily traveling the past probably 4 or 5 years. I've been in about 20 different countries, 6 continents, and counting, and that's about it.
And Teresa, you're quite the traveler yourself, so go ahead.
I am. I grew up traveling, but internationally, I started traveling maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And yeah, I've been to, I don't know, 22-ish countries, I think. Yeah.
Now, as you're talking, the only thing I'm doing right now is I'm just staring at my screen to make sure that I could see you. So, guys, just before we went live, we were troubleshooting. I have to test the studio, and I was panicking because Josiah was able to come on the show. I can see his face and everything else. I could not get Teresa. And imagine my stress level going high, but luckily we sorted it out, and as you can see, it's working. So, thank you both.
Teresa's
I
operator.
appreciate you guys taking the time to come on my show. I know you guys were very busy in the last few weeks, going around multiple different stations doing interviews. So having you on my show I consider myself lucky to have you guys. So if we can start with the questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys correct me if I get this wrong. Josiah, you planned your trip, and then Teresa, you had your own plans, but somehow yours didn't work out, and same thing with Josiah. I think your partner or whoever didn't want to come, and then you went on this Facebook group. You posted your itinerary, and a total stranger contacted you. Walk me through that. How did this happen?
Yep. So, like you said, I had plans to be in Japan, but Japan is not open to Americans right now. So, I was looking at other options, and I really wanted a direct flight from the United States to the country that I was going to, just to not be traveling through airports as much as possible. And Turkey has been on my list before, and I was able to use points and miles pretty easily to book the flight there. And so once I knew Japan wasn't going to happen, I booked kind of my own itinerary to go to Turkey by myself. And I was gonna do everything by myself. And then in a Points and Miles travel group that we're in on Facebook, someone had mentioned, another person had actually mentioned that they were looking at going to Turkey. And I had commented and had put, I'll be there as well. Here are my dates. Feel free to join. And then Teresa slid into my DMs and she asked me if she wanted to come. She asked me if she could come, and we just got to talk, or not asked if she could come, but we got to talking just about our different travel styles and to make sure that we would get along traveling the same way, and we like to do the same things. And it was coincidentally dates that lined up with her. And before we knew it, 4 or 5 days later, we had the first time we ever saw each other face to face. We didn't do a video chat or anything. Was in the O'Hare Airport, and that is
And
how we're here
I want to
today.
say the rest is history. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
the rest is
to Teresa right now. Teresa, walk me through was going through your head. I'm sure when you went to this group, I heard that there's over 40K members. You're scrolling through. Why stop at this guy's post? What attracted you to his itinerary or whatever he was putting on the Facebook group?
Well, look at him. No. I I so actually on the post that the girl had made about saying she was going to go to Turkey, I had commented on her post and said, "Oh, I'm thinking about going. Let me know if you go, how you end up booking," meaning using points and miles. And when Josiah commented on that, I actually got a notification. So that's how I saw it, because I had already commented on the other girl's post. So when I saw the notification, or when I got the notification about his message and I read his message, I was like, well, I'll just message him and I'll just see what he says. And I did a little Facebook stalking to make sure he looked like a normal person. And, he was semi-normal, but I didn't find that out until after. And yeah, so that's really what it was. And so we kind of started chatting, and just like he said, we figured out that we had, at least we said, we had similar travel styles. We like the same kind of things. And so told him I was going to sleep on it.
Yeah.
And
Didn't sleep on it.
45 minutes later, I texted him and I said, I don't even think I had his phone number. I messaged him on Facebook,
Yeah.
and I said, I didn't even have his phone number at this point. And I said, okay, I booked it.
Yeah.
So,
And as Josiah just mentioned, both of you met for the first time in the airport. I just cannot comprehend how awkward that would have been, but maybe it's just me.
we had been texting that day. Like I just texted him, okay, I'm boarding my flight. My flight ended up being delayed from Denver to Chicago. And so I was just keeping him updated. And then he told me where at the airport he was. And I was like walking up going, gosh, I hope I recognize him right off the bat or this is going to be really awkward. And then I saw him and I was like, oh my gosh, you are a real person. And he was like, COVID hug, and not really, we were about to travel together. So at that point, but yeah. And so it really was not weird. We went and had beer and it was pretty normal.
Chemistry. Right?
Yeah. It was like we had been a while. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little bit like a first date because, you're kind of like, meeting somebody for the first time that you maybe talk to a little bit, but you don't actually know them. And so, it was a few hours of getting to know each other before our flight. And then a couple days in, we realized that we hit it off really well and that we were going to be really good friends. It didn't take long.
Well, I mean, everything that happened for a reason. And I didn't say this at the beginning of the show, but remember, these two are strangers. After all this, we'll talk more in details. They're now business partners. Okay, so we'll talk more about that. And I'm going to probe you guys later on about your... I know both of you traveled together and the cost for 7 days was under $1,000. And I know you both do points. So I want to talk about it, but we'll come back to it. Before I forget, I want to ask you, so both of you flying, like I didn't fly this year thanks to COVID-19, but what is the experience like checking into the airport and going? And I remember you guys said there's no restriction in Turkey, so they didn't care whether you like testing you for COVID-19 and stuff.
They didn't test us for COVID, but they did do temperature checks at the airport. So if you're symptomatic, like if you're showing any symptoms, they're going to test you on the spot. They're going to make you take a COVID test. Neither one of us were showing symptoms and neither one of us had a fever or anything like that. So we did not get tested, and it was pretty, as far as traveling right now, and every airport's a little different. Every airline's different. Some airlines have blocked middle seats, some don't. Our experience, like, it really wasn't that different. Everybody's wearing a mask. You have to make sure that you're wearing one. Cold food, so there's no hot food, there's no hot coffee. This was specific. I think that, I don't know if that's every airline right now, but that's specifically, Turkish Airlines is like that. But overall, it really felt pretty normal. It didn't feel crazy like there was a pandemic. It did not feel like that.
Yeah, they had temperature. There were temperature checks kind of throughout the Turkish airport when we arrived, and before we even got on the plane in Chicago to board the flight, they checked our temperature as well. And instead of giving out an amenity kit that you normally would get when you fly business class, they were giving out a COVID kit, I would call it, which had hand sanitizer, a mask, wipes, different things like that before you got to your seat. And then, like Teresa said, when we got there, we got off the plane, got off like normal, and kind of walked like you normally would to go through customs. And they had a temperature scanner kind of as you walk past. It didn't check each person individually. It kind of was checking a group of people as it went, and it would kind of, a little alarm would buzz off if someone had a fever. And then we just stood in the line like normal and presented our passports, and they checked. And I can't remember if we had to fill out anything there or not about COVID or anything, or where we'd been or anything to that nature. But then we just got ports, then we got our luggage, and I think at that point we were both kind of, not a sigh of relief that we made it and we did it, and like we're trying to like hide something, but it was just a little nerve-wracking. We weren't really sure what was going to happen at that point, as far as if one of us was showing a symptom or they wanted to test us or anything like that. But everything we did was in compliance and everything, so, which is good.
It was kind of nerve-wracking. Like, we were both like a little on edge traveling, and like, what's it going to be like when we get there? It almost like, it's like that feeling of guilt, even though there's nothing, we didn't do anything wrong. We had nothing to feel guilty about, but we were like constant, like the whole trip there, we were like, okay, okay, all right, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine, you know.
You're constantly
And
reassuring each other, saying we're good.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it felt like that. And so as soon as we got through customs and everything, we were both like, okay, vacation can start.
We made it. We're good. Now, somebody brought up the point story. I wanted to wait and come back to it, but maybe we'll just get this done. So, the minute you mentioned point, somebody here is just saying, "Oh my God, I need to look into to points and miles." So, walk me through. I'm still puzzled. I want to hear how do you guys do this? Because we do points. My wife does it, but maybe not the way you did it. So, how like $100,000 for 7 day trip? And just so everybody know, this they just did this travel during the Labor Day weekend. So it's not like this was the beginning of the pandemic. This was well into the pandemic. Go ahead.
Yeah, for points and miles for that person who is interested in learning more, we actually, that's part of our business is we help with that. So just so you know, Vacation Pursuit, but little plug. But so it actually, what's crazy about that is, so yeah, each spent under $1,000 all in flights, hotels, food, souvenirs, tours, everything was under $1,000. But if you just look at just flights and hotels, and we both took flights, we flew business class there. I flew economy home. He flew business class home. And then we had 3 domestic flights within Turkey. And then we had 9 nights in a hotel. And that total out of pocket was only $158.57 per person. So the other $850 that we're talking was just spent on food, tours, souvenirs, all of that stuff. And yeah, it's just a matter of knowing based on your spending habits, which cards to sign up for and when to do that, so that you can hit those bonuses to then take those bonuses and book your flights, book your hotels. And we both booked it differently. So there's multiple ways to the same end result to use your
And I
points.
believe Josiah, you're also a very good expert at this point system, right?
Yeah, so I've been very active in the points and miles space for the past 3 years. And how I discovered it is kind of my backstory was in 2014, I discovered what's called an error fare. And an error fare is basically the airline has an error in their pricing that is sent to Expedia or Orbitz or something like that. So I was able to fly round trip from JFK to Dubai for $175.
$175.
So that was kind of what was, yep, 175 round trip on Etihad Airways from JFK to Abu Dhabi, and then another bus
One
to
of the
Dubai.
best airlines that
So
you can think of.
that was kind of what got me.
Sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. Oh no, you're. So yeah, it was. There's just the way I tell people about points and miles is it's extreme couponing basically, just with a different reward than toilet paper, or laundry soap, or dish detergent. It just depends on how your different spending habits and different things like that. And the long and short of it is it is credit card points and sign up bonuses and managing your spending and being strategic with your spending. It might not be for everybody. If you carry a balance on the card, it's definitely not for you. You want to get that taken care of first. Your credit score needs to typically be at a certain point, but then it's really just being strategic with what cards you open. And like Teresa said, that's part of what we are going to help with Vacation Pursuit is sit down with people or via video chat with people and kind of analyze their expenses and help guide them with the best card that might be the best use for your family or for a specific trip or your specific need or your want, because everyone's different. Teresa's spending habits are different than my spending habits, but we both flew on the same airline. We both used 2 different type of point currencies from 2 different credit cards, and there's different ways to do different things, which is what I like about it too.
Well, I'm glad that you guys both have a business to explain this. I consider my family to be frequent flyers. I shouldn't say that. Well, we fly to quite a few places every year, right? I thought my wife knows this point system. She has a card. So based on what I'm hearing from you is there's something else to it, because when she was reading through your articles, because I made her write up your description for YouTube, she was amazed. She's like, what are these people doing? And I had to tell her, well, guess what? They have a business now. So maybe we should reach out and find ways. Because when we fly five, six of us at one time. So imagine if I can apply whatever you're doing, the amount of money that we can save. So, folks that are listening in, I know a bunch of us here are travelers. Vacationpursuit.com, and you have the various different handles at the bottom. Again, it doesn't cost money. Go show your love, follow, like, and then what I like about their Facebook. Sorry, we'll talk more, but they have a Facebook group where you can go get advice on trips and stuff, and like you mentioned, they will help you plan your trip as well. So while you're listening in, make sure you have another browser open and you're following them on their various platforms. Now, you guys got on the plane, you went to Turkey, and I remember when we were doing the pre-show interview, I didn't want you guys to talk much about what you did in Turkey, so I'm now excited to hear, where did you guys go in Turkey? I believe you guys went to multiple different cities. What are the things that you've done? So walk us through.
Okay, I'll start. You want me to start?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So we landed in Istanbul, and then we took our taxi to the hotel that we were staying at. And by recommendation, we stayed in Old Town, which Old Town is kind of the older area of Istanbul, but it's very close to all the tourist things to do. So very close to the Grand Bazaar, the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Basilica Cistern, close to everything. So we took a taxi there, and then we kind of got settled in our rooms. We had separate rooms, got settled a little bit, and then we just decided to walk around, take a look around, explore the area, see how close we were to things, grab something to eat, and then we kind of called it an early night. Just we were trying to adjust to the time zone and everything. And then the next day we went and kind of hit every single tourist staple thing you could do in Istanbul. Everything I just listed and more. Went to Taksim Square. We did a Bosphorus cruise. We took a bus and went to the Asian side, back to the European side. Kind of did everything, and that was one of the nice things about doing this during the pandemic, is that everything was open, and it was very we didn't have to wait in a lot of lines. There were I wouldn't even say a lot of lines, any line. Everything was very open. We could breeze right in, breeze right out. There was plenty of social distancing measures in place. Everyone had masks, hand sanitizer, temperature checks in front of every single thing that you had to go in every single tourist attraction. And then the next day we did what Teresa and I found out that we ironically both like doing on a trip, is we both like to get on the hop on, hop off bus. Right. So a lot of major cities have these where you have a 24-hour pass. You can get on and off as much as you want. We both like to get on, ride the bus all the way around the normal route, kind of see what there is to see, and then kind of take it again and get off and go see the different areas. So, and then the next day we went and did some shopping in Istanbul, and then we jumped on a plane and went to Cappadocia. And I'll let Teresa talk about Cappadocia.
See, these are names that I did not look
so we
up,
went to
so I want to type it up and look it up after. Sorry, go ahead, Teresa.
Cappadocia is my background right now, so yes. That's behind me. So that's the name Cappadocia means, I think, beautiful horses, but everyone in the area now goes to this area for doing what's in the background, is the hot air balloon ride, seeing what they call the little fairy chimneys, the underground cities, different things like that. So that is what Cappadocia looks like, for those that can see back there.
Oh yeah, it looks beautiful.
We stayed in a cave hotel in Cappadocia, and it was just one of the coolest things. Like, you walk all the way up this hill, and then you're like in a cave essentially, and like that's the hotel, and they're all different rooms. Like, our rooms were completely different. It was just really interesting, and it's I don't know, it's just so charming there. So it's everywhere you turn, it's just like, oh, look at that. Oh, that's so cute. And we ended up doing, like, we were exhausted. So the night before our hot air balloon ride, neither one of us slept. And so at 4:30 in the morning, we have to go to get on this hot air balloon. So after that, we only had really one full day there. So after that, we went back to our hotel, and we were like, we just need to see all this. We need to see everything we can see in a day without walking, because we're both wiped out. And so we hired, it was like $50 or whatever, maybe $40 for the whole day. And they just drove us around and they took us, we didn't have to ask. I mean, they had a route map and they just took us to every single thing. So we went and we saw like these underground cities, or the biggest underground city, I think. And that's the dance that we came up with there for some reason. I don't know why we're doing it. And it's a little late. It's getting late, and so we did that. And then from there we flew to Izmir and we stayed in Kusadasi. And I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but that is what did you say?
You're saying it right. No, good
but
job.
That is where we stayed. And if you just look it up based on the way it's pronounced, spell it that way, you'll find it. And so it's like this beach town, and it's about 20 minutes from Ephesus, the ruins. So we went and saw those, and then we did a day trip to Pamukkale, which is about 2.5 hours, and that's my background. So this is Cleopatra's Pool.
Cool.
I'm going to fall off my chair. And so I'm not going to move any further. This is the pool that she said to have bathed in. And so I guess it's for women for like beauty. You're supposed to go bathe in the pool of Cleopatra. And so we did that. And we did, there's hot springs there. And we went paragliding.
Oh, God.
And we saw Mary's house. The Virgin Mary's house. And then we went, so then we spent the rest of our time just like.
Did you? You okay?
It's live, folks. Anyways, so then we just hung out by the pool on the last day, walked the beach, shopped. We did a lot of shopping, and yeah.
Wow.
You can finish that up, Josiah. This is what happens every time we try to have a business call, just so you guys know. This is what we do.
Hey, I always say it on my show that.
Yeah, the last day.
Sorry, Josiah, go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. No. So the last day, we actually rearranged our schedule. We were supposed to do Pamukkale on our last day, but we decided let's rearrange that and do that first. In the very last day, we decided let's have kind of a pool/beach day. And so we just let's see, we got up, had breakfast, and then we went and just sat by the pool and we're hanging out by the pool and drinking and just kind of enjoying the last day of our trip. No plans, nothing, no agenda. And that is when we met someone there, and we were just talking about COVID and talking about where he's from and different things like that. And then come to find out, he ended up asking us how long we had known each other and what made us decide to travel. And when we said, well, funny story, we actually just met maybe 6 days ago. So, and he couldn't believe it. And so just asked us a few more questions, later came back over and then told us that he was actually an editor with CNN. And he had talked to his main editor, and his main editor wanted to write up a story about us. So we, of course, said that was fine, and did our interview right there in the pool, and then enjoyed our last night in Kusadasi before we headed back in the morning. We flew back from Kusadasi back to Istanbul, and then had a little bit of a layover, and then flew from Istanbul to back to Chicago. And then that was kind of the end of the trip.
So in between everything that you were saying, I just pasted the article on the chat for those who want to read it. So imagine last day you guys are just hanging out by the pool, casually talking to a random individual, and he turned out to be a journalist who decided to feature you guys on CNN Travel. Now, talk about coincidence. Like, I wish this happens to me. So how did you guys react? Like, were you like, oh my God, yes, go for it? Like, were you guys looking at each other and say, do we want this? Like,
well, he made it out like it was like no big deal. He's like, yeah, I actually work for CNN. I just called my editor. Would we be able to interview you? We were like, oh, okay, sure. And he walked away. We were looking at each other like, CNN. Like, CNN wants to interview us.
and
we were like totally like, oh my gosh, this is such a big deal. And it was a big deal, but it was like he was acting like, he's like, yeah, this, we might run it in a few weeks. It was like so CNN. 10.
That's big. I mean, did they release the article before you come back to the US, or did they do it after you came back here?
We were back.
Oh, so
We were back, yeah.
okay, so you guys kind of knew when it was going to come out and all that. And
No,
We did
no,
it.
we did not.
That's why if you go to our website right now, it's still in the process of being built because we were not expecting it to come out quite as early as it did. So bear with us. It should be up by the end of the week.
no, I will talk. We're going to talk pretty extensively about your actual business plan that came out of all this. But before I forget, I want to ask you guys about the hotels. When we travel, we used to love hotels, but I think in the last 5+ years ago, we decided that hotel is not for us unless we really have to. We would do Airbnb for most of the time. And I remember we talked about this earlier too. I know you have your point system and all going on. So have you done Airbnb, or, and if yes, like, when do you prefer hotels versus Airbnb?
I prefer Airbnb in a lot of cities. It kind of depends on the city. It depends on, when I go to Paris, I always get an Airbnb. I just think that it's so much better than I just feel like you get so much more for your money with with a B&B than with a hotel. I think it just depends on the city. So if I'm paying cash, I tend to look at Airbnbs, and if I'm using points, I tend to look at hotels.
And Josiah, I think you have a preference, or you're similar type, right?
Well, I actually prefer hotels, I would say, over an Airbnb. But again, I think it does depend on the city and where you're going and what your plan is. For a family, an Airbnb can definitely make more sense than a hotel, just because you do have more space to kind of spread out. You have the kitchen, a living room. I've done both. I typically gravitate more towards a hotel because I do like to use points. One thing with hotels that I also enjoy is the status that you get with different hotels. So the hotels, of course, have different loyalty programs. So being a member of that loyalty program does have its benefits and its perks, whether that's a room upgrade or breakfast or late checkout, different things like that. That's why I enjoy hotels just a little bit more.
And you guys will be talking in depth on your social media and your website about all this, right? So that people like us can learn.
Absolutely.
The other thing I want to ask also is,
Yep.
we've been talking all along. You guys are two random people that are traveling, and some people will tend to say, well, are they now a couple? And I know that you guys are not a couple. Did you guys stay in the same room, or did you guys book your own rooms? And did both of you have a plan that, let's say, day 2, you guys cannot bear each other? Okay, I'm gonna go. Did you guys talk about this, or did you have in mind? Walk me through that.
I mean, I think in my mind, I had a plan in case it didn't work out, but I don't recall us ever sharing that plan with each other in case we didn't like each other. But did we? I don't know. I don't remember.
I mean, I knew that he was going to like me. I mean, I am very likable. Right there. And I was like, oh, there's not going to be a problem. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I mean, I did it. I think that we had kind of both just discussed up front that, we can do our own things. We don't have to feel committed to each other 100% of the time. And even though we ended up spending the entire time together anyways, but, I think we just kind of had that conversation up front and yeah.
At the same time, two different individuals. I'm sure somebody probably likes to stay at a beach, and maybe Josiah would want to go see different museums. How did you guys compromise on, today we do what I want and tomorrow, or did you both decide ahead of time saying this is what we're doing?
We had the same exact list of things we wanted to do. It worked out like really well because there was never really a time where it was like, I know you want to see that, but I don't want to see that, or I want to see this and you don't. We just wanted to do the same things. So it worked out.
So throughout the whole
really
time,
well.
You guys were like fully in sync. And again, I could see the chemistry even looking at both of you on screen. So that's phenomenal. Like, I think I said it.
Yeah, I would say we either used breakfast or we would use dinner to kind of as our strategy session of what we wanted to do the next day. So we would kind of use that time to figure out like, okay, what do we think about this? And we would look at, that's the time we'd use our phones to kind of check and make sure like how we're going to get there, was it open, Wi-Fi, different things like that. So that was kind of where that was our chance to kind of get in sync with each other to see if we were going to be able to do the same things. And before we went on the trip, we did ask each other, do you want to do, like, I was like, I'm not a beach person. I can't sit there all day. I can't sit there all day. And she couldn't either. So I was like, that was good. We got that out of the way. But no, there's never a time where we really argued about doing anything, or we just kind of, no, I can't think of once where either one of us did our own thing. We were pretty much together the entire time. Even when we were in our separate hotel rooms, we were texting each other like, "Are you awake?" So
there was one time that we were supposed to leave the hotel for our flight at noon, and I overslept, and we were supposed to meet for breakfast and then go do some before we were supposed to leave. So I woke up late and I texted Josiah and I was like, hey, I woke up super late. I have to shower. I haven't packed, like just go out, go shopping, and I will meet up with you. I'll meet with you at noon in the lobby to leave for the airport. He came knocking on my door and he's like, you go shower. I'm packing your suitcase. I want you to go shopping with me. Wow. So that was like the one time that I was like, okay, just go off and do your own thing for like 3 hours. And he was like, no, I'll pack your suitcase for you.
Well, that's very nice of Josiah to actually offer that and do it. I know you guys are business partners. I want to put that as for a little bit later. I want to stick to this travel. So you guys did Turkey. My obvious question is, are you guys both planning to do another travel or multiple other travels? If yes, what do you guys have in mind?
Go ahead.
I was just harassing him today to go to Albania with me in 2 weeks.
Albania?
We'll see. I was asking him today. We were looking at flights. I was like, 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out. You want to go to Albania?
Wow.
We are undecided at this exact moment in time. But.
Is it because Albania doesn't have any COVID-19 restrictions, or is there anything else, any other reason for Albania?
Well, I've actually heard really great things about Albania, and I've heard that it's kind of like an up-and-coming tourist destination, but it hasn't really hit yet. People haven't really seen that yet, and they don't know what's there yet. And so, kind of like Croatia was a few years ago, and now Croatia is this big destination. So I've wanted to see it, and I've heard really good things about it. And knowing that they don't have a COVID, they have the it's the same as Turkey, where they check for symptoms when you get there. It feels like, maybe now's the time. I mean, it's on my list anyways. And that's how I felt about Turkey, is it was already on my list. So this was just a good opportunity, and it made it really easy to decide where to go. So the conversation about Albania came in.
Wow. And you, Josiah, if you had a chance to fly next with Teresa, where would you pick?
Oh, where would I pick? I don't know. Well, yeah, Albania is definitely on the table. We'll see. We have to kind of maybe work out a few other things. I have a trip already booked I have the flight and hotel booked for Singapore and Taipei in January, but as of now, those are not looking favorable just because they're not open quite yet for traveling. And then the next trip I have past that, I have already booked, and my flight booked as well, and that looks probably a little bit more favorable just because of how far out it is, and that is to Spain in May. Teresa is coming.
I will be going on that trip. Assuming that we can go to Spain in May, I will be on that trip.
Yeah, we have Spain in mind, where we want to take the time and do the whole Spain and then Portugal. We have it in mind. We just need to get it done. Now, something I forgot. I just looked up my notes. There was something very special that happened while we were in Turkey. One of you celebrated your birthday. How did that go?
He was like, did you tell them? No.
Oh my God.
Just kidding.
No, it was my birthday. The last day, the day that we were at the pool, relaxing. Our last day, that was my birthday. So, and Teresa loves birthdays. I would say she likes them a little too much, but she.
You weren't complaining on your birthday.
I wasn't playing on my birthday. It seemed like we turned into local Turkish celebrities by the end of that trip, because in Kusadasi we went out every night, and we kept going to the same bar every night, and every time we'd walk in they'd cheer and like freak out because we're Americans and they were super excited, and we had a blast. It was fun. She definitely pulled me out of my is that I normally wouldn't do, which is part of the nice thing about a travel partner and something like that, is they help you with things like that. So
Well, it's good that you both are business partners. So I think now we can switch gears a little bit and get on to vacation pursuit a little bit. And before we start that, I just want to remind those who are on this currently live chat, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot. Do you recommend choosing a destination and looking for deals, or basing your destination off what deals you find? Oh, we got an interesting question. I'll read it again, guys. Okay, this is coming from Sydney. Do you recommend choosing your destination and then looking for deals, or basing your destination off what deals you find? I hope I read that. You know what? I'm going to Skype this to you guys. Just make sure I don't screw it up. See if... there you go. That's from Sydney. Sorry, Sydney, I just looked at the screen, so I apologize for not getting to this earlier. You guys want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, I think that for me personally, it goes both ways. Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to go to this country this month, and that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to try to find the best deal to that, best way to do that. But then, so maybe 2 times a year I do that. But then the rest of the time I will scour and be like, let's just look at the best deals from Denver to anywhere, any month, and let's just see what's out there. And then sometimes that's when I'll find some crazy cheap flight I'll be like, oh, where Amsterdam's been on my list for a long time, and here's a flight for $297 round trip on these dates. Sounds good, and I'll book it. So I kind of do both. It depends on how much you travel and how important your bucket list or your destinations that you want to visit are. I've been a lot of places. I'm open to a lot of places, but if you travel once a year or once every couple years, you probably want to pick the places that you really, really want to see and then work around that.
Very weird. Well, Sydney, if you're listening, there's the answer. And if you want to find out more in details, contact them. Send them a message on Facebook or website or Instagram, and I'm sure they'll both get back to you in no time. So again, guys, anybody else have a question like this, please feel free to send it. So we're going to talk more about your business now. And just to remind both of you, we said, I tend to do this show for 2 hours, and you guys are going to talk roughly about 40 minutes. Well, I think you guys have been talking already for 40 minutes, and I still feel like we have quite a bit of stuff to cover when it comes to your business. So let me ask you the question. So you both decided to start this business. Was this your idea, or was it Josiah's idea? And tell me, what are you offering to customers or potential clients out there? What is your business? How are you going to do it?
You want to take that one? I feel like I've been awfully chatty.
What's new? Awfully chatty. No, so that actually comes from the last day in Turkey. We did our CNN interview, and then we went to dinner that night, kind of to celebrate, or end the trip with a nice dinner. And it just came up in conversation that I was like, I think I literally just said to her, did I tell you that I was starting I wanted to start a travel blog? And she said, are you serious? Because I've been wanting to do the same thing too. And we just kept talking, and we kind of thought, what a way to kick off our blog, our blog website, or our blog together, than to be featured on CNN. So that was kind of the kicker for us, and we kind of made the decision there at dinner to join forces. And I would say what Vacation Pursuit does overall, We just are connecting adventurous strangers, we would say, or strangers and travelers who share the same desire. Explore the world without paying full price through using points and miles. Um, Transforming your daily purchases and daily habits and transforming those into a lifetime of different memories, whether that's domestic memories, international memories, with friends, with family, whoever it may be. That's kind of the main goal of what we decided to create our site. So it will be pretty focused on miles, but also on travel deals, maybe like travel accessories. What's the best luggage? What luggage do we use? What do we think about global entry? Answering different travel questions. And then the other component would be connecting the strangers. We've received an outpouring of people that have wanted to just connect with other travel partners, whether that be someone to go like we did. People that are looking to do the exact same thing that we did. So, and that's kind of the next step, is to develop a system that we're working on very diligently right now to develop that and to help pair strangers together to travel.
And today I see, like, I was on your Facebook group, and I can already see quite a few people going there, putting their itinerary. So we talked about this briefly earlier too. So you guys want to be, I would say, let's say, I'm a random person. I can privately message them and then talk to them and pull off a trip just like you guys. But you guys want to do a little bit more, where you want to be in between, and you want to make sure that both candidates are suitable at some point before connecting them. That's the goal, right?
Yeah, so that's part of what we're working on now. So it hasn't launched yet. We don't want to spill too many of the secrets since we're still working on it. But we want to actually pair people together. And now that doesn't mean that we're going to pair them together and say, okay, enjoy your vacation. But we want to we're going to kind of match them so that we feel with like-minded people, we feel like there's that actual fit there, and facilitate that, and then they can connect, and then at that point they can decide if they want to explore going on vacation or whatever it is that they want to do. But yeah, so that's part of what we're doing. The one thing I want to mention about the points thing is that the key to that is you're not spending more. You don't spend more than you normally would spend. So I think that's something that people think about. They'll say, just as an example, they'll see a credit card sign up, and maybe it's $3,000 in 4 months that they have to spend. But that's just, you're just transferring all the bills and everything else that you spend. You're taking that from your debit card or writing a check or however it is you pay your bills, and you're just putting it on that card to achieve that like sign up bonus. You're not actually spending extra money. And so that's the key, is that we can kind of help guide you with, based on what your everyday spending is, where your best bet is to open cards.
So you're going to pair up people, but you're also doing this. I think it's a great service where you will recommend a family or an individual. Like my family, maybe we should reach out to you guys, because we spend quite a bit. So if we have the right card, maybe we could be like you, be proud to say I spent less than $1,000 for 7 nights stay in Turkey. I've looked at your website, so those who are listening in, at the end of the show, I will update the description with the links. For now, you will only see the CNN article. I didn't put all the Facebook stuff, even though it doesn't take much. You just type in that name, you'll get it. I've been kind of having my notepad on the side here while you guys talk. I've been looking through to see, okay, did I cover everything I wanted to cover? Looks like I did. So I can give you guys another 5 minutes if you want. You want to say something to finish up? We still have 12 people live watching this, and then I don't know how many restream that's going to come out of this. What do you guys want to say? If any, anything.
I mean, if there's anybody that has any questions, I would love to answer them. Josiah can just be quiet. I'll answer them.
So
like
guys,
normal. Perfect.
If you have a question, type. Oh, sorry. Somebody says, "Good point." Oh, I think they're reacting to your answer to whether you should book ahead or plan after. So I don't see any more questions coming in. So as I said to everybody
Okay.
here, um, I will update the description later on with all the website and all. You guys are more than welcome to go and connect. We've been talking through Messenger for the most part. They are pretty quick. They have an automated response that comes in, and then they get back to you fairly quickly. So um, again, I don't know how your fee structures work, guys, so I'm not talking about that, but reach out to them, see what they have to say, and um, obviously they do it, so they know what they're talking about, and I hope a lot of you will benefit from their services. And guys, for me, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to tune in, talk about your amazing experience, and again, I think I got your interest on really reaching out to you just to see what we could do, and I'm sure there's other people out there. You guys have been very busy with different networks, so I really hope you get featured everywhere. And if you guys are, you know, I know a year from now you guys are gonna be big. I would love to have you back on this show and see how well you guys are doing.
Well, we'd love to be back,
Absolutely, definitely.
and we'd love to be big.
I have no doubt that you guys are gonna be big.
We'll take both. Just quick, because you touched on fees, so I just want to say a lot of what we do is there's no charge to some of what we do. So some of it there are, some fees involved, but a lot of what we do there's no fees at all. So don't just think that we're here and we're like, come find us and give us your money, because that's not at all what this is. I mean, there's some stuff that will be paid services, but a lot of it is free. So you can at least utilize that even if you're not looking for some of our other services. So just know that. Come follow us, and then, you will be able to kind of map everything out for you.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, following your Instagram and your TikTok, I don't know, I need to learn that, but your Facebook group, liking your page and following what you put out there, it doesn't cost me any money. If anything, I'll get interesting stuff out of it. So I highly encourage everybody here to follow them, and they are quite big already. There's a couple of hundred people, and there's constant chatter going on. So we do it for other platforms. Just follow theirs. That's how you get deals. So. Again, guys, thank you so much. I wish you guys all the luck. I'll be closely watching you, and I'll message you in between. And I really hope that you guys get a ton of followers. That you're gonna be busy, and we're gonna be like, wow, look where they went from here to a year after. So, good luck to both.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you having us on.
Yes, thank you very
Not a
much.
problem, guys.
Thanks.
My pleasure. So. You both have a great evening.
You
Cheers.
too.
Thanks. You
Thanks,
too.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.
All right, guys. So we're in terms of show. I'm done with what I wanted to cover with Josiah and Teresa. So again, tune in. I always say this. Supporting somebody, whether it's their Instagram or Facebook, it doesn't cost money. So make sure you guys go like their page, ask them questions, whatever it is. They're here to help us, and same thing goes for us. If anybody here did not give me a thumbs up or like, please don't forget to do that. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do so. My goal is, I started off watching your show from Sri Lanka. Wow, thank you, Jay. That's really nice of you. I know there was quite a few people here, and I appreciate each one of you. Make sure we support each other. I have a bunch of people that I follow. Take a few minutes, check their channel. They each have amazing stuff to offer, and you don't grow by yourself. You're part of a community, and we have to all help each other to grow together. And again, I'm hoping to have these Teresa and Josiah back in about a year just to see how they're doing. But going forward, I'm changing the show's format a little bit. I started off doing this 5 days a week, or I wanted to do it 5 days a week, and I went on a few days not knowing what the hell I was doing. But then I cut this down to three times a week. But even that, I realized that between the days off, I should be editing videos and posting stuff, but I don't get the chance to do it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this down to once a week and bring in some really good people just like we had earlier and give you guys some interesting content. But in between, I will, Cone is saying do not subscribe, just watch. In between, I will go live doing my craziness and whatever. And we have interesting guests coming up this Friday, so I really want all of you to join in and support them. It's the Hart family. They usually tune into the show for a bit, or afterwards they watch it. Come in and watch them. They are pretty cool. I'm just gonna play you guys a short clip right now just to show you guys their intro video that I made. That is on my YouTube page right.
My name is Travis Cosentino, and I live in my van. I've been doing van life for about a year now, and I love it. This channel is going to be about vlogging. It's going to be about my life, traveling on the road as a filmmaker and photographer. Van life is connection. I got into this life because I wanted to meet people. I would not be where I am today if it weren't for the people that I met on the road. These people have come through for me in ways that I could have never imagined, and I am eternally grateful for it. That to me is my bread and butter. That's what I get the most out of it, is just kind of learning their personal story and then telling it. And believe it or not, people have some pretty epic stories. What the fuck? This kid is driving me crazy.
Editing. So on the long run, it's definitely not gonna benefit me. So but I enjoy doing this, and I'm working with another guy out of Quebec, where I will be maybe hosting a different show in French on weekdays. So we just started the conversation last week. Sorry, not last week. We started talking about this yesterday. So we still have to finalize a few things, but definitely that's coming. I'll be sure to share the details with you. But to each and every single one of you who joined the show tonight, thank you. I always appreciate all your support. So like I said, I'm gonna end it now. We've been at it for an hour and 4 minutes. There's no point of me yakking away when I don't have good content to deliver. So once again, folks, thank you. And one last thing I want to say, if you guys want to join my show, just reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I don't care if you think you're a small YouTuber, or if you're a YouTuber with a large following. I personally don't care. As long as you do regular content and you're passionate about what you're doing, I would love to have you on my show. So You got my email if you go to my about page. You got my Instagram details, Facebook details. Shoot me a message. We'll get in touch. We'll talk it out, and then I'd love to have you on the show, so we can learn about you and what you have to offer to the world. So, thank you, everyone, and I wish you all a great evening.